So very soon, a lot of us are going to be able to finally get away, go exploring, go camping with our mates. But I'm telling you, this summer is going to be absolutely flat out. It's going to be probably the busiest summer we've ever had, with people touring all over the place, camping all over the place. It's going to be so busy. So what I want to show you today is how I find campsites, how I find my 4B tracks, how I find my locations, my waterfalls, lookouts, all that. I want to cover that today, how I do it, because I think it's a really good method. It always seems to work, and we usually find a spot where no one's even there. So today I'm going to run you through all that, and it can all be done for free on your phone. So let's get into it. So the first tool you've probably already got on your phone. It's Google Maps. It's easy, it's quick, it just works. What I do is just hover over a location I'd like to explore, type in campsites, and it just brings up a bunch of campsites that I can go to. This is the same with waterfalls or anything else. I just type in waterfalls and it comes up with waterfalls. It's a super easy way to find some locations that you want to explore. You can also save them as points of interest, so then you can have quick access to get to them really quickly on your map. I will say though, it's pretty poor for 4x4 tracks. You can't really search them that well, and it's kind of hard to find them, so I don't recommend that. I'll show you a better app for 4B tracks later on. Another great app is Wikicamps. Wikicamps is awesome for finding campsites. Like, it's all, you can have it all saved offline, and it just shows, all it shows on the map is campsites and points of interest. It's fantastic. It is a paid app though, but you get a 14-day free trial. But I highly recommend getting it. It's worth the money. You click on a campsite, it tells you like if you have service there, it tells you how much it costs to camp, it tells you if you can have fires or not. It's a really good database full of all these campsites. It's an awesome app, and I use it all the time. But if you don't want to pay the $9 for it, there's another app called Campermate, which is also pretty similar, but Wikicamps I've been using heaps. Bloody awesome app. I'd get onto it. So all those apps offer offline downloading, so you can still use them while you're out in the bush, which is really handy, especially when you're out with no service but you need to find a campsite that night. You can still use Wikicamps to find the campsite. It's great stuff. But if you're looking for a map with more detail, like more of a HEMA style map without paying the big money for HEMA, I download this program called Avenza Maps. So what Avenza Maps allows you to do is basically overlay your GPS location on top of downloadable maps. So you download the app, you download some maps of whatever areas you want to explore, and then it overlays GPS location on top of those maps. The detail's insane. It's honestly like having a massive paper map, but on your phone. And I love it because you can see tracks that Google Maps don't have. You can see like historical markers that Google Maps doesn't have. All these different locations that Google Maps won't show, these maps have the detail and show you. So I really love them when I'm in remote areas. You know, when I was all on the Snowy River, I was using them to find gun spots, and it's awesome. I love those old school maps. They're really sick. They're also really handy with showing like seasonal road closures, which Google Maps, it's getting better at doing, but it's still not as good. So these old detailed maps actually show you where like the gates are and stuff that usually get shut. So really handy for that regard. A similar offline map to that, all-in-one, is probably OSM, OpenStreetMap, and that app has very good detail and it's all offline. So I have this just as a backup in case, you know, I'm way out in the thick of it and need to know my location. I need to know a way out of there. So you can actually route offline. So you can type in a location, it'll take you there offline. It's really good. It has your GPS, compass, elevation, all that stuff. Really good information. It's just like a solid free GPS app on your phone. So highly recommend OSM. That's on Android and iOS. I always have it installed just in case I ever need to find my location or work out where I'm going. Now the big one, 4B tracks. Now this is really hard because all the other ones don't really show 4B tracks that well. Like the way I used to do it, I just Google track, and if it's something said track rather than a road, I knew it was probably a good 4B track. But there's a lot better ways to do this now. So we actually use an app called New Tracks, and I'm pretty sure this is like a local Victorian app. It's slowly starting to spread out, but most of the tracks and most of the detail are still in the state of Victoria. So this app is really good. It shows you all the 4B tracks. It shows you the difficulty, time to completion, when was the last time someone traveled on them. It shows you seasonal road closures. It's fantastic. For example, when me and Liam were trying to go out and do snow missions and find those snow tracks, we use New Tracks, and it could show us what gates are closed in that time, what gates are open, when was the last time someone drove that track, so we can see if it's actually like too gnarly that it's going to be like. It's really good because it warns you about steep sections, and it'll keep you out of trouble, because the worst thing is going down a track and then it just turns to absolute hell, and then you got to somehow find a way out of it. So I love having New Tracks just to like have a pre-warning of, you know, if I do go down this hill, what's going to be at the bottom of it. So New Tracks is a really good app for that. It's downloadable offline. You can log your trip. It's really good. Me and Liam both use it. It's a gun app, and it's on Android and iOS. So another cool app that a lot of you might not know about is actually a government-made app. Now you might think government-made app, oh, that must be terrible. No, well, it's actually pretty good. So it's called More to Explore, and what it essentially is a map that shows heaps of different outdoor activities you can do, from hunting to fishing to motorbike riding to hiking to four-wheel driving. It's got everything on there, and it's got where it's permitted, where it's not permitted, what tracks can you go on. It's got all this information, and it's really handy. Like even for the hunting stuff, like it'll show you like what sort of animals you can hunt in which area, and same with the fishing. It's really detailed, and it's actually a good app. So highly recommend checking out More to Explore app. That's on Android and iOS. Yeah, it's a solid app. It even shows campsites as well, I think. It's just a really good map, and I'm sure there's other equivalents to it in different states. But if you're in Victoria, More to Explore is a really cool app. Show you some great stuff and give you some great information. So the next app I haven't personally used, but I've heard a lot of great things about it, and a lot of people have been using it, and it's called Gaia GPS. A lot of people have been using it because you can use it with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. And if you watched my other video the other week, you could see my gripes with Android Auto and that with not having great mapping options. Gaia GPS is like having an offline map. It's like, it uses, I think, OpenStreetMap, and it shows some good detail. You can do trip logs. It looks pretty good. I haven't done a heap of research into it, but Gaia GPS is good if you're on Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. So keep an eye out for that one. Now, all those apps are great ways to find new tracks, campsites, etc. But there are other ways which doesn't directly involve downloading an app. Now, talking to people is one thing that I think a lot of us haven't done a lot of recently, but when you do go out into these rural towns and rural communities, if you talk to the locals there, they will know gun campsites, they will know gun tracks. They have a wealth of knowledge about all that stuff, so highly recommend talking to locals as you go into new towns, because they know a heap, and it's crazy what you don't know that exists until the locals tell you. Another awesome way is just talking to mates who forby or mates who get around. Like a lot of the spots I've actually been to, I didn't find on Google Maps or anything. I found from word of mouth, and that's sometimes where the hidden gems are, because you find a hidden gem, a lot of people don't share it, so you won't really find it on the internet, but word of mouth is a great way. There are a lot of groups about this on Facebook. There's like camping groups and groups that have all the gun spots and talk about it. I feel like there's not many shared on there because everyone's pretty reluctant to share their gun spot, especially in this day and age, which I don't blame anyone being reluctant to share. Even sometimes we don't share our spots because, yeah, it's hard when a campsite gets a lot of traffic, you can tell pretty quickly. So it is sort of, yeah. You can see why people are reluctant to share campsites these days. You can see why. Another great way though, while you're on YouTube right now, is to actually YouTube where you want to go. So if I want to head up to, the Murray River, I'll Google Murray River and look around for gun campsites on the Murray on YouTube. There's a lot of great, really well done videos of people going away, exploring, traveling, and showing all the campsites they go to. So there's a bunch of great channels out there. I just, YouTube where you want to go and just start watching a few videos. But I will say there's a double-edged sword to that, because you start watching all these videos, like, you don't want to get spoilers of what it actually looks like. For example, for the Snowy trip, yeah, I wanted to research about what the Snowy looked like and everything and where are the gun campsites, but I didn't want to spoil what it looked like. So double-edged sword there. It's like movie spoilers. You don't want to see what everything looks like, because that's half the fun in going there. So yeah, but that's another good tip if you are looking for campsites. And now my favorite way to do it. I'm a massive map nerd, so I'll literally spend an afternoon on Google Maps on satellite imagery, just like scoping around, looking at the terrain, looking at hills, looking at clearings, following rivers. You can do all that to your heart's content and find little offshoot tracks and little flat areas, and that's the way I love to do it, to get really away from anyone, is to do that. But obviously that requires a lot of time and effort, but yeah, just scanning around on Google Maps or Google Earth, you can find a lot of awesome stuff. Just follow rivers and follow tracks and you'll see where they lead, and you can find your own gun spot. Just make sure you're actually allowed to be there first. But yeah, there's a lot of gun stuff that's still undiscovered out there in Australia. But yeah, I just can't wait to get out there this summer. It's probably going to be the best summer ever. It's going to be so much fun. So get out there, look after your mates, get your cars out there. Mine's been sitting in the shed for way too long, so I'm so keen to get it out and start actually driving it again. But yeah, hope you enjoyed this little bit of video. They're my ways, but there's probably more ways. So let me know how you find campsites in the comment section. I'll be down there floating around. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope you're having a good week, and we'll see you in the next one.